Hey there, Michael Griffiths here, founder of Referral Marketing Guru, and welcome to this week's Get More Referrals Today podcast. Today, I want to get through something which hopefully just makes you think a little bit more. And it's about why salespeople, really good salespeople, are so successful. And it falls in line with everything we talk about around a limbic way of thinking, the limbic advantage, and what actually they do, whether they know they do it or not, whether it's being trained into them or not, might be another thing. But there are certain things that the top salespeople just do, and they naturally do it. And there's a reason why it works. And the reason why it works is because it taps into that limbic part of the brain. So that's what I want to dive into. Not only probably will this help you with your sales, but it'll make you hopefully think something just a little bit different and maybe get you out of being logical, cortex brain into that being limbic, right brain, emotional focused. So here's a list. Top 3 things that number one salespeople do that you have to start doing also. So the first is they understand it's all about relationship. They understand the more that the prospect likes them, the more that prospect is likely to buy from them. So they focus on relationship. They don't focus on transaction. They focus on what do I have to do to get that person to like me. Now, when you think like that, it's a completely different way of thinking because you think most people in sales, most people think, how do I get the sale? How do I create the sale? So straight away, we're in cortex, logical, rational, analytical, boring part of the brain. It's transaction focused. So the things that you're going to come up with or the things that you're going to do are never going to be as powerful as when you change the question to being, how do I get this person to like me more? What do I need to do? What are the actions I need to take? What are the things that I need to say? See, so many people in sales think it's about using this language, or it's about using NLP, or it's about saying some fancy words, or doing up some fancy script that makes them feel a particular way. And in essence, really what we're trying to do by doing any of those things is to simply trick ourselves to becoming more limbic. But it's not about tricking yourself because there's one thing that all humans are really good at doing, and that's seeing straight through the unauthentic people. Like, it's easy to see straight through someone when you know that they're just simply doing something because of an end outcome. So if you want to become really great at sales, no different if you want to become really great at being able to turn prospects into clients, grow your business, keep clients for longer, then you've got to focus in on relationship. Now, lots of people are probably listening and, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. But how well do you actually do it? Because there's one thing in knowing it. There's one thing in going, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then there's another thing in how you actually do it. And how you do it, you've got to take this to a whole different level. So right now, if you were to think about some people who might be in your pipeline, how are you getting them to like you more? Is it about sending them something? Is it about making them feel good? Is it about making them laugh? Is it about creating brain chemicals? Or are you just simply checking up on them, which is what most people do? I thought I'd just see how things are going, which is code for I'm just seeing if you're ready to buy from me yet. Like, it's really easy for people to see through that sort of garbage. So the real question to you is, if you're focusing on how do I make someone like me more, I think that's such a more powerful question than am I keeping a relationship with this person? Because a relationship, honestly, it doesn't matter. We talk about in business, it's about relationships. Well, let's dive deeper into actually what that means. And what that means is, am I getting this person to like me more? That's all it means. Right? It doesn't need to be a two-way relationship. Of course, it's going to be, but it doesn't need to be. And that doesn't even need to be your focus. Your focus needs to be, am I getting this person to like me more? And that's the first thing that we need to be doing, especially in sales, but in our wider business. So there's number one. Number two, they're very good at language. They study language. They listen to the words that they say. And every piece of their language is about creating feeling. So if number one tip around great salespeople, and we go into the top three things that great salespeople do. The first one is they focus on getting people to like them. And the second one is around language. We focus on every bit of language that we use to create an emotional feeling. See, we understand, great salespeople understand brain chemicals. Again, when we talk about the limbic advantage, it's about being more heartfelt in our thinking. It's about being more profound in our strategy. It's about being more magical in the experiences that we create. All of it comes down to, how are you strategically influencing how someone feels? Now, that's not just luck. That has to get done, and you have to monitor everything that you're doing, and you have to go back and pull it apart, and you probably have to write out examples time and time and time and time and time again, because the language that you use is everything. Now, here's where it becomes a little bit tricky, because we talk about the two parts of that brain. The cortex brain understands language. It's logical, it's analytical, it's rational, and it understands language. Where the limbic part of the brain, which makes all human decisions for us, controls all behavior, actually doesn't understand language. It's only feeling based. So if I'm now just talking about they're very emotional with their language, here's the kicker. Even though the cortex brain is understanding the language, it's creating a feeling for the limbic brain to go off. So in all of our language and in all of our communication, even though it's a cortex brain that's understanding the language, it quickly flicks over to the limbic part of the brain going, oh, because this was just said in this particular way, we should be feeling like this right now. And therefore, controls behavior, controls decision making based on how we are feeling. So you've got to really focus in on what's the language that you're using. How are you in what you're saying, in what you're doing, in what you're coming across? What feeling am I creating? And we talk all the time, 4 key brain chemicals, 3 positive, 1 negative. So every single day, we need dopamine, we need oxytocin, we need serotonin, the 3 positive brain chemicals. And quite often, every single day, in fact, multiple times a day, what is also created is a negative brain chemical, cortisol, stress, anxiety. If you are just being boring, you're not creating cortisol, but you're not creating dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin either. You're just simply boring. And that's how most people are in business when it comes to sales, because they take it from a logical process. Here are the stepping stones I need to follow. And if you're following the stepping stones, perfect. But again, you're being process driven. And you can't create emotion, you can't create feeling when you are being process driven. When all you're focusing on is the process, you can't create what you need to around your language, the emotion around your language. So the second real big thing to look at is, what's my language? What words am I using? What words do I need to tweak or replace or change that's going to create a different feeling? Because it's all about feeling. I've got some unbelievable people in my network who are around sales that talk about the logical brain, the emotional brain, that talk about red brain, green brain, that talk about left brain, right brain, and whatever terminology you might come across. In essence, it's what we talk about: the cortex brain, the limbic brain, the logical brain, the feeling brain. And we know that it's a limbic brain where all decisions are made, where all human behavior is controlled. So whether you call it the limbic brain, the green brain, the right brain, the emotional brain, the feeling brain, it's all the same. And that's why this second part, you have to create emotion, you have to create feeling within your words. No matter what, everything you do should be creating a feeling that you want the other person to have. Okay, let's get into tip 3. So if we looked at 3 top tips, 3 top things that all number 1 salespeople have about them. The first one was all around relationship. They don't just focus on relationship. They focus on, how do I get that person to like me more? Because the more someone likes you, the more they're going to buy from you. It's just that simple. Second one, how do I ensure that all of my communication, my language, what I'm actually getting across is creating the feeling I want, the emotion that I want? I think the third one, and there's a couple of different ones, so I could have gone down the path here, but to me, the third one is consistency. It's consistency of keeping the relationship, of making the person feel good, of doing the little things that create brain chemicals. It's not just, I'll do it once and hope that it works. It's doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I was listening to something the other day, and even though it had to do with sort of personal relationships, it's exactly the same, because in the end, it's 2 human beings. And if you've got 2 human beings, then this is so relevant. When you have, let's just go, somebody resonates with you, likes you, let's say about 70% or more. Okay, so we're really big. For someone to buy from you, they need to resonate with you first. Right? And whether you go, that's no like trust, I think it's deeper than that. But they need to resonate with you. And therefore they can respect you, and therefore you can inspire them, and therefore you can make their life better. But it starts with resonate. So if someone resonates with you, likes you at least 70% of the time, there is one other factor that is required. And as long as you get that other factor, then it's just a matter of time. So that other factor is time in the game. But if you're not doing it consistently, then you can't get enough time in the game. So you need to make sure that not only are you doing things to get them to resonate with you more, like you more, be more feeling towards you, you then have to be consistent and keep time in the game. And most people don't. Most people are just simply, I want it right now. Where is it now? They don't have the patience. And it's something that society, unfortunately, has taught us incorrectly. But it's all about instant gratification. It's all about, well, if you're not going to do what I want you to do now, then bad luck, I'm moving on to the next person who will. So we end up shooting ourselves in the foot, and we end up missing out on so many opportunities because we're not consistent in keeping time in the game. So if you think about those 3 things, the first one, how do I change the words, the language from it's about building relationships to how do I get this person to like me more? Like, that's deeper. You're going to come up with different strategies when you're thinking about how do I get this person to like me more? The second one being all around, how do I ensure my communication, my words, my language is creating feeling, is creating emotion? Because if it's doing that, then you're going to get them to feel a particular way. So those first two allows someone to resonate with you better. Now, if someone's resonating with you at least sort of to 70%, then it's just a matter of time. And you just need to keep time in the game. And if you can keep time in the game by being consistent, by doing those first two things over and over and over and over, it's just exactly that, a matter of time. So to me, sales isn't hard. Being a great salesperson isn't hard. The big difference, it's their thinking. And so what we talk about, this whole limbic advantage, being able to limbic brain your business from top to bottom. The way you think, the way you chemicalize your communication, the way you fill your pipeline, the way you nurture your pipeline, the way you enroll clients, what your client journey looks like, how you make sure that every system within your business is brain chemicalized in a way that's going to create dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. You see, when you limbic your business, you stand out. But it has to come from the way you think. And that's unfortunately, as we talk about it all the time, not as easy as what we want it to be. And it's not sometimes as easy to admit either, because we're all given a survival brain. We're given a brain that is there to help us survive. It's not there to make other people feel good. It's there to keep a roof over our head, food on the table, make sure that we're looking after us. But the only problem is when we only focus on that, it makes it really hard at the other end to have a thriving business. So hopefully that's been super helpful. Think about how could you take your sales by focusing on how do I get someone to like me more? How do I create feeling in the language that I'm using? And how do I become more consistent in having more time in the game? As always, if you love the episode, make sure you share it with at least one other person, promote it on your socials, leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. All of those things are super helpful and greatly appreciated. Otherwise, till next week, I'll speak to you soon. Take care.